I want to start filming monthly like video diaries or monthly recaps or whatever you want to call it, life updates every single month. I was prepping for an interview I'm doing with Eric Decker, and that's something he does. And I think that's actually I thought that was a cool idea. My buddy Cam did one of these, a life update, like a year ago, and I was like, I should do those. And I never did, and then I came up again with this Eric prep thing. And so I figured, I should record. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. This month is going to be pretty crazy for a lot of reasons. So I figured now's the best time to start. I have no idea if I'm going to post this. If I do, maybe I'll just private it. I'll probably post it because I just want, I want to be able to look back on these, and obviously I'll always be able to, but like for other people to see the perspective of where I'm at right now as I'm kind of in my journey and in my process. I do these vlogs that aren't that great, but I think it'll be cool to get, this will be more of like just kind of how I'm feeling, what's going on right now. And so, yeah, June is going to be a very big month for us. Right now, this month, so right now I've got obviously my job. I'm consulting with a company that I'll eventually be joining full time. I have my podcast starting and working with someone on starting a new podcast, and we're moving to Toronto. And all of that could be happening this month. So I don't even know where to start with everything, to be completely honest. The podcast, we'll probably start with the podcast. So I'm gonna be ideally, because it's kind of like a recap of last month and a preview of this month. There's some stuff we gotta talk about with last month as well. Last month was VCon. Yeah, I'm all over the map. I should have taken notes or something before I did this. But I think, yeah, so start with the podcast. I'm gonna be shutting my show down. That's the plan right now. And starting a new show with Creator Now. So Creator Now is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so awesome. It's like, I feel like I'm not gonna do it justice, but Creator Now is a company that teaches you how to become a YouTuber through a 6-week cohort. They have awesome industry teachers, like actual creators will come in and talk to you about being a creator and giving you, and like just helping become a consistent creator and putting you on the path for success as a creator in 2022. So it's co-founded by Zach Conover, Kate Ward, Eric Decker, who's known as Eric on YouTube. And I had Zach on my show 2019, I think, maybe actually 2020. No, it was definitely 2020. Zach on my show 2020. It was about 2 years ago now. And a few months ago, he DM'd me on Instagram with a voice message and said, hey, like, we want to start a Creator Now podcast. We need a host. Would you be open to hosting it? I don't know like where it leads with your show or anything like that. I don't know if this is too forward, but I'd love for you to come host our show. And so I went to Toronto in March and I met up with Zach because Zach was coincidentally back in Toronto when I was there. And we went for coffee. We kind of talked about the podcast a little bit more. He said, like, come up with a bit of a proposal for what the show could look like. So I did that. They liked it. And I've been working with Kate a lot on kind of fleshing out the idea for the show, which we're going to call the process. So it's going to be about the creative process behind successful creators. And so that show, and the cool thing with that show is that it's going to be live. And not live, sorry, it's going to be in person. We want to do the show in person, so all the interviews in person. So that means right now the plan is for me to be flown out to LA every 2-ish months and batch recording them all in person. And so this month will be the first time I do that. So we'll be heading down to LA. Dates aren't 100% confirmed, but sometime probably between like the 20th and the 26th or something like that. So like that last week of June, right before we moved to Toronto on June 30th. So it's gonna be hectic with that. But I'm so excited for the show. And the reason I'm shutting my show down is like they're gonna be similar-esque shows, not like similar to an extent. We're gonna be interviewing similar type guests, obviously. But with Creator Now, with the process, like it's gonna be bigger guests. Like their Rolodex is so deep, and we're going to be able to leverage that Rolodex. Have some pretty awesome guests on the show. So it's going to have bigger guests. There's going to be an editor and a producer and everything. So I don't have to edit the show anymore, which is just huge. And yeah, so it's gonna be all in person. So it's gonna be just prepping and interviewing and obviously some quality checks and listening back to the shows before they go out and like maybe scheduling some stuff. But like, it's gonna lighten my workload a little bit with the show. Like I said, bigger guests in person in LA. And so I don't want to keep doing my show, especially in its current form, like interviewing creators. Like it's going to be so similar, but the Creator Now is going to be cooler. So I don't want to lose momentum on my podcast because I start this new show. And so I'm going to be making the decision, shut my show down, let it be what it was. Like it has been about almost 4 years now. It's starting to rain, isn't it? It's been about 4 years now. since I've started my show, and I'm happy to let that be the chapter. Let it be what it was. Let it be this thing I worked my ass off for that has led to this opportunity with Creator Now. You know, I thought my goal with the podcast, what I thought it was going to lead to was going to be me interviewing big guests, not having to edit the show, flying around to do interviews, and I've achieved that. That's what this new show is going to be, what I wanted the end goal of my social life to be. So I've achieved the end goal. I just didn't take the road I thought I was going to take. And so that's kind of cool to look at, you know. mission failed successfully, I guess. But I don't want to keep doing my social life half-assed. I've been doing it, like I said, for almost 4 years now. I've been consistent pretty much since like September of 2020. September of 2018. Damn. And I haven't missed an upload. And I don't want this new show to get in the way of that. And so right now I'm doing both. I'm prepping for the new show, and I'm still trying to do some final episodes of my show. And I'm already stressed about that. But I want to try and get to 200. That was the goal, 200 episodes and call it quits. The original plan was like, I went to VCon in May last month, and the plan was to just knock out all those interviews at VCon and then just edit it when I had the time. That didn't happen. I didn't record a single interview at VCon. People got busy, you know. I think everyone just had good intentions of coming on the show, but once you get to VCon and you see everything that's going on, like the first thing, everyone gets busy and things come up, and like the first thing to cut is this random podcast. So that makes sense. And honestly, like when I was there, I was like, I don't want to take time to do the podcast. I just want to be in this moment and enjoy this. Which sucks, because I spent like $500 on wireless microphones and stuff before. Not 500, like 400, I guess, maybe 5. On microphones that I never ended up using. I use them for my TikToks now, so I mean, it works out in the end. But yeah, so I didn't end up recording anything at VCon. We have some VCon stories. We'll probably get to these here, but the plan with my show is to get to 200 and end it. And my first plan was I was going to have Hayden be the 200th guest, you know, because Hayden was my first guest, he was my 100th guest, and he'll be my last guest until VCon happened. And so VCon, and you'll have seen the vlogs, so if you've watched all the vlogs, you'll have seen this. I reacted to it in the moment right after it happened, but I was looking for Hayden at VCon. I was looking at a side stage. I couldn't find him. I knew Gary was speaking at the stage. It was packed on the floor. There's like an upper deck, so I go up to the upper deck, and there's like a lineup going out. So it's like in a stadium, so it's like this is underneath all the seats to where the stage is. So there was like a lineup going out into the seats into the stadium, and I couldn't see who this lineup for. It was like 15 people, and the lineups for Gary were like 3 hours long, so I knew it wasn't Gary, but I was curious as to who it was. And so I poke out a side door and I look, and I'm like, sure as shit, it was Gary. And so I go over and I take like a picture from the side. I'm like, I'm never gonna be this close to Gary. And then I was like, wait a second, why don't I just go stand in line and meet Gary? So I stand in line, and for the last couple of years, I've been writing down every time Gary said something I've never heard him say before. So I write it down. I'm looking through this list as I'm standing in line, and I pull something from the list, and I'm in line with him, and I was like, Gary, or I get to the front, I get my picture, I'm like, Gary, can I ask you a question? He said, absolutely. And I was like, when you own the Jets, are you gonna make them play grub ball in practice, which is a game he used to play in middle school, I guess. It's like a football variant. And he was like, how the fuck do you know about grub ball? And I was like, and I based almost sort of like, yeah, I'm a podcast host known for my research. I've been taking notes, everything you've done for the last couple of years. I'd love to have a 5-minute interview with you. And he said, absolutely, email me with grub ball and we'll set it up. And I was like, all right, cool. So I emailed his team, and I was like, hey, like this, like, Gary, I just met you, you told me you moved with grub ball, whatever. His team hit me back pretty quick, and they said, yeah, we'll set something up post VCon. I was like, great. So I got back from VCon last Monday, I guess I got home. And so I hadn't heard back from the team. It had been 10 days. And so a week since VCon ended. So I figured, no, I follow up. So I followed up with him today, and I also said like, hey, like if it's possible, I'd love to do this interview in person. And I feel like even if it's 5 minutes, I hope that once I get there and I ask him some of the questions that I ask him, I'm going to get him to extend it. Maybe not. I don't have the expectation that he'll extend it. But who knows? We'll see. But either way, 5 minutes, I think it's worth it to fly down there even for 5 minutes. So I offer like, hey, like if it's possible, I'd love to do this in person. And so his team hits me back again instantly, like they're on it with their email. And they're like, hey, like we're still getting things kind of organized with Gary's schedule post VCon, like we'll have to follow up on this. And I was like, absolutely, sounds good. But they didn't shut down the option of doing it in person. So that I'm taking that as a good sign. That so maybe at some point in the next month or so, I'll also be flying into New York City to record an interview with Gary. Again, could only be 5 minutes, but I think it's worth it. Especially I'm hoping for the direction I'll be able to take that interview. But either way, so now I'm thinking Gary Vee will be the 200th guest on the podcast. You know, he's been the dream guest since day one. And so I don't think there's a better way to end it. Like if you go back to all the podcasts I've done over the last 4 years, it's like, oh, who's your dream guest? And I always go, oh, Gary Vee's got to be on the list. Gary's always on that list. And so I think there's no better place to end that show. Let it be what it was and end on that high note. even if it is just 5 minutes. I just think that there's no better way to wrap the show up than an interview with Gary. And so that was awesome. VCon was sick. I had a good time. I got to hang out with a lot of cool people. And it wasn't like a lot of like, I didn't meet like a lot of new people like just randomly. It was a lot of like all of our connections from internet friends all just kind of kept bringing in a group together. And VCon, yeah, it was really cool. I'm, again, very appreciative that Hayden brought me. I'm going to try and buy my own V1, maybe. Like right now, the floor price is like, I just looked, there's one available right now for like $11,000. And like, that's too much money. I almost panicked bought one right before VCon for $13,000. And I was like, this goes against every rule I have set for myself when it comes to investing. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm keeping my eye on it. With this new company I'm going to be working for, there's a huge bonus attached to it. So if I get that bonus, I'll be able to take a good chunk of it and put that towards a VFriend. I am right now not bad in terms of, like, I'm not there yet. I'm about halfway there. Like, I've been slowly investing in crypto over the last year-ish. It's not even been a year yet. Slowly investing in. I flipped one NFT that did really well. So that's part of why I'm halfway there. But I'm halfway to a VFriend right now at the current floor price. Maybe it'll drop a little bit. I popped a little bit after VCon, which I was expecting it to go up a little bit right after VCon, but we're a week removed and we're already back down a little bit. So I'm wondering if it'll drop a little bit more as we get further from VCon. So we'll see. But I'd like to buy a VFriend. A VFriend Series 1. I have a Series 2. I have my level-headed lizard. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. I really should have like notes for this. But yeah, I honestly blacked out when I talked to Gary. But D-Rock was there. The video does exist. I know that they just put up today the block party or whatever, like the welcome parties, the day one. I met him on the second day of the conference. Like, I met him on the Saturday. They put up the video from the Friday. I met him on the Saturday. D-Rock recorded, so there's a chance I make it into that video from the Saturday. If not, like, I still want to try and like hit up D-Rock some way somehow and see if there's opportunity to get the video of me meeting Gary. I think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that happened to VCon. I met a lot of cool people. Got to spend a lot of time with Sean Does Magic, which was cool for me because he's someone I've known through the internet for the last like 3 years or so. I've interviewed him every single year. We go back and forth on DMs every once in a while, and he happened to be there, so we spent a lot of time together, which is really cool. He's just one of the most genuine people I've met. Unbelievable energy. And that's something Hallie said when we were going through pictures from VCon that I have on my phone. She's like, every picture of Sean, he just looks genuinely happy. He has a genuine smile. And like a lot of people are like smiling for the picture, but Sean just seems to be happy, and that's infectious energy. And I think it's good to surround yourself with people with energy like that. And of course, I don't know if you watched the vlog or not, there was a drive-by shooting. We were going to dinner. I'm not gonna give you the whole story, it's in the vlog, but yeah, basically we were walking to dinner and then we just heard a couple pop, 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 pop. I'd never heard a gun before in my life. We took off. We ran. I ran into a strip club. I didn't know it was a strip club. Ended up being all right, but that led to an awesome night where we were hanging out in this restaurant and Jamie's hotel, and then Sean ended up rolling through, and Jamie's friend Jeremy came through. Met a couple people from Meta, another creator, a tech founder. We all just kind of like ended up like just what's the word? Starts with a serendipitous. Serendipitously ended up meeting in this hotel, thanks to that drive-by shooting. Luckily, our whole group was fine. I don't think anybody was actually shot that we could tell. Not that I was paying close attention, I was running the other way. But yeah, VCon was cool. I was exhausted by the end of it. I guess didn't record any podcasts, but still had a great time. So yeah, but anyways, but the biggest thing, obviously it peaks with Gary. And like the morning of the first official day of the conference, I meet Gary coincidentally, get on my podcast. That's a pretty tough thing to top. And that was definitely the peak of the conference, but the rest of the conference was still awesome. I had a really good time. Yeah. And so Bisham decided to end the podcast with Gary. And I think that'll be good. You know, I'm having some not like second thoughts. I don't want to continue my show, especially in its current form. But like maybe there's a new show I want to start, because I'm just like I interviewed Michael Lazaro yesterday, who sold Buddy Media for like $700 million in 2012, and his company's invested like $400 million into the Web3 space. A very successful guy. Like I'm gonna lose out on like the opportunity to meet people like that because I'm gonna be doing a podcast that's so focused. And again, I'm not against it. I think this new show is gonna be incredible, and I couldn't be more excited for it. But I was like, I don't know, do I like, I'm not going to do my new, I just have like those thoughts, obviously. And they're probably going to become more apparent as I get closer to actually shutting it down. I think not having to edit it's going to be a relief. Not having to do any of the post-production stuff, like that's just doesn't light my fire as much as I thought it did. That's something I'm learning a lot about myself. It's like something I want to spend more time doing, and I'm trying to learn is like what gives me energy and what doesn't. And I think I should do that this week or this month. It's like have something with me, and every time I do something, like when something gives me energy, write it down. When something takes away my energy, write it down, and try and build my life around things that give me energy. I think that's just something, I'm trying to learn more about myself. You know, like I always thought I was this business guy that was a little creative, but as I get older here, I'm not even that old, I'm 24, but like I realize now that I'm actually, I think, more of a creative type than a business type person, which is tough for me because I thought I was going to build this giant company and be this like entrepreneur guy, but now I'm really like the creative endeavor is what excites me. And I think with that in mind right now, I feel like I'm being hard on myself because I'm not being quote unquote creative enough. I'm not writing scripts like I was last year. Last year I wrote 4 scripts in like a calendar year. So from like February to January, I wrote 4 scripts. 4 features. I've written 3 shorts this year, but I haven't written a single feature. I haven't started a new feature. I'm going to edit the last feature I wrote, but like I'm just not making the time for it because there's so many things on the go with the job, the consulting, the podcast, both of them. And my big goal is to not miss an episode leading into 200. I have to be consistent. That is a absolute must for me with this because I don't want to go out with a whimper. I want to go with a bang, right? So this just doesn't leave time for the podcast or for the screenwriting, and that's something I really want to focus on. And I'm just not doing that right now. Like I said, like by this time last year, I think I'd written 2-3 features, and like I've really like lost the momentum, and I don't want to lose the momentum. I want to keep writing. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, it's always that thing where it's like the hardest thing to do is actually sit down and write. And whenever I do sit down and write, I have an unbelievable time. Like I love it. I get in like, I think it's the most flow writing scripts and doing interviews is probably where I have my most flow, where I get into the most flow, where time passes differently. I'm just enjoying myself, especially with screenwriting. I just love it. And like, I remember I was working on a script recently with a short film, and I spent like an hour on like 3 lines, like agonizing over 3 lines. It was a rewrite. I don't agonize and when I do my first draft, it was a rewrite, and I was agonizing over these lines. And I like enjoyed it. I was like up and thinking, and I was like throwing a ball against the wall, trying to work through these lines. And I just didn't like the dialogue, and I was trying to get the dialogue right. And like, there's nothing else I do where I actually sit and like I can sit and work on something for that long. Like I need to always be moving forward with the podcast, or not the podcast, with the script. I'm cool to sit there in that and just wrestle with it and figure it out. And that's just something that I thought that was a huge indicator for me, that's something I need to continue doing, because there's not a lot where I like to problem solve for that long on one specific problem. So that was cool for me, but I'm just not writing enough. And I'm hoping that when we move to Toronto, that's something I can bring. When we move to Toronto, when I have one job and a podcast where I'm not having to, the podcast won't be a hamster wheel. I mean, to an extent, obviously, because I'll have to do all the prep and stuff, but like, it won't be the hamster wheel it is now, where it's like book guests, find guests, reach out to guests, prep, interview, interview, edit, takeaways episodes, social content, 1,000,001 things. Like, that's going to stop a little bit. That's going to slow down. So I'm hoping that when everything here kind of falls into place, that I'll have more time for writing. And I think that have more time for writing is, I don't know if subjective is the right word, but it's my decision here. And like, it comes down to a lack of prioritization on my behalf. And I've just filled my day with a lot of things that I enjoy, but writing, I could make time in the mornings, you know. But I keep getting in my head, like the last couple mornings, I'm like, oh, I should work on my script. But I was like, I don't want to start it and then come back to it and like lose that momentum on it. And so I'm in my head about screenwriting now, something I know I definitely want to make more time for. And I want to get 2 features done before the end of the year. I want to get 2 features done before the end of the year, at least the first draft on both of them, which I think is very doable, along with finishing the rewrite on this script here that I wrote called The Body. But yeah, it's just, that's important to me. That's something that's really important to me. But like I said, hopefully post Toronto, I'll be able to do that more. I should probably talk about why we're moving to Toronto. And honestly, like, everyone keeps asking, like, oh, are you moving for work? Like, why are you moving? And the honest answer is like, just because, like, we kind of just decided to. I remember the first time we were talking about it, well, I mean, obviously we went to Toronto in September for our 5-year anniversary, which was awesome. And Hallie, that was her first time. We spent like 36 hours in the city. She really enjoyed it. And then it was during when all the truckers were here, we were like, Toronto dealt with that in like 12 hours. Like, we are here on like week 3 or whatever it was. We were talking about it. And we were at Zach's Diner. Actually, it's Valentine's Day. So it was like week 2. We were at Zach's Diner for Valentine's Day dinner. We were just keeping it low key on Valentine's Day this year, which I forgot to buy Hallie flowers this year, which I did not realize. So that is a huge priority for next year. But we're talking about, like, you know, like Toronto dealt with it. Like, what if we moved to Toronto? Like, you know, like Toronto, there just seems to be more happening there. There's more green space. The city clearly feels more secure at that point in time. Like, what if we just moved to Toronto? And we're like, yeah, we totally could. Like, whatever. And that's always how, when Hallie and I make big decisions like that, it always starts with like a casual what if conversation that we both kind of go, wait, what if we actually did that? And we were home looking at apartments within an hour. It was like, and we hadn't, that wasn't like a concrete, like, yes, we're doing it. But it was something that was there that we were seriously considering. And I go to Toronto in March. I have an unbelievable time. I love it there. I think, you know, Hallie's going to like it here. And so I'm like, you know, let's do it. Let's do it. I told Hallie we have to move here. Like, let's do this. And she's like, I'm on board. Let's do this. And I was like, okay. So we're doing it. And then we found a place. We found an awesome spot, which is literally right next door to where I was staying when I was there in March. It's called the Novus Building, and it's awesome. You're going to see the vlogs. You know, we're going to vlog the move in, but the building is just, we're on the 18th floor, which is higher than we've ever been. We don't have a view of the CN Tower just because of how we went with the cheapest option. We're still paying, I think with our rent increase here, we're paying like $300 more in the new building, but it's worth it. There's co-working space, a library, boardrooms, social areas, like 2 games rooms, 2 rooftops, 4 barbecues, 6 fireplaces, couches, everything. There's also a gym for tenants only, and there's a big like 3-story gym called Altea, which is just this fancy gym that we have 1 free membership to. So I also signed up for a paid membership. So we have 2 memberships to this now. It's like $120 a month or something. It's pretty steep, but in this gym, it's obviously there's weights, there's classes like spin and whatever, there's boxing, there's yoga studios, both hot and cold. There's a swimming pool, a salt lounge, saunas, a cold room, meditation pods, a social lounge, a game room in there, a pool hall in there. I think it's a restaurant, 2 coffee shops, a smoothie bar, like anything and everything you could possibly want is in this gym. So it's going to be a pretty decent lifestyle bump upgrade for us, which to us made sense to pay the extra $300, I guess $400 with this gym membership a month. And so it made sense. So we just figured, let's go for it. And so we wanted to move like ideally August 1st, maybe September 1st. We had to, but Hallie didn't want to because I was too close to school starting. And so we called them, we're talking to the guys, like, you should probably do July 1st to make sure you get in. Like, that's his recommendation. So we did July 1st, and he calls us and goes, look, like, we need you guys to move in June 30th. Can you do that? And we were like, I guess so. So we're moving in June 30th. So 29 days from now. So we handed in our 2 months notice yesterday. We updated our insurance today. So we've booked the moving truck already. We didn't think anybody was going to help us move, but everybody's helping us move now. Like, Hallie's parents are helping. My brother is coming down. Quinn is coming down because he's going to take a train to Toronto that weekend for some Jays games and a Bombers game because they're in Toronto. And he was like, well, I'll just come down with Josh. I'll help you move instead of paying for the train. So Quinn's doing that. Granddad wants to come down. So everyone's coming down, which is great. We only have 2 hours with this. There's a service elevator in the back of the building. So we only have 2 hours to move in once we get there. I'm very overwhelmed with driving the moving truck in Toronto. But it'll be what it'll be, I guess. Our goal too, also like a big consideration for moving, and like I didn't think we were going to move this soon. Like I really wanted to, my goal is right now to maximize the time with my grandparents, right? I want to spend as much time as I possibly can with them. And I know that's something I'm not going to be able to do when we move. And so the intent right now for Hallie and I is to come back every month or 2 months and stay with my grandparents, with Nana and Granddad. You know, so if we come back once a month, stay with them 3-4 days. If we come back every 2 months, stay with them for a full week. And the thought process behind that is we see them once a week right now. So we see them for 2-3 hours every, so we'll say 4 times a month, that's 12 hours. We see them for 12 hours a month right now. If we come back every month and we stay with them for 4 days and we stay with them, we're going to see them more. It's going to be condensed. So that's the thought process right now. I want to make sure, it's important to me that we follow through with that at least every 2 months. Yeah, and like the train tickets right now, because we're going to be 25 still, are only $100 round trip, which really isn't that bad. $50 each way also if we bring the dog, which we'll have to at certain points. But there is also like pets sitting in our building, but we're probably cheaper just to bring the dog. But either way, that's something that's important to me right now as well, is getting making sure we see Nana and Granddad. Like, it's right now I'm stressed because obviously everything I got going on right now with the 2 jobs-ish, not really 2 jobs, it's like the job in the consultancy, the 2 podcasts, the moving, everyone's like, we want to see you as much as we can before you leave. And that's like, okay, 1, we don't have a lot of time before we leave. 2, I got to go to LA for like a week, and I'm very busy. We're both busy. And so it's like, I want to see, like, Mom texted me the other day, like, hey, I want to make sure I see as much as I can. And I'm like, I completely understand. And I want to see everybody as well, but it's like, I can't like hang out with people all day, every day before we leave. And so that's stressing me out. It's like, I'm not seeing everybody enough. I haven't seen Nana and Granddad in 3 weeks as it is, because I remember what happened, or 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, like 2.5 weeks, because I didn't see them for VCon, and I wanted to not see anybody because I was maskless. Everyone was maskless at VCon, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have COVID before I went and saw my grandparents. And so I'll be seeing them on Saturday, I think is the plan right now. But yeah, so I haven't seen them in like 2.5 weeks. So I really want to make sure I see them, and now I'm stressing out that I haven't seen them a lot recently, and then we're gonna be leaving, and like that stresses me out. I'm also highly paranoid of, like, knock on wood, like with the COVID situation, like I don't want to get COVID before I leave for LA. Like that will just, I'm paranoid with that right now, so I don't want to be seeing everybody left and right. Like I'm gonna like lock myself in a room and not see anybody before I leave for LA. Yeah, so a lot of stressors right now. I was actually feeling, this is very cathartic doing this. I'm definitely gonna try and do this every single month, but I was feeling a little down today for some reason. I don't know why. I was just prepping for an interview for the new podcast with Isaiah Photo. I just feel like I kind of felt like I was in a bit of a funk. So I really wanted to make sure I got this video. And I came to the roof because I fucking love this roof. I love this roof, and I haven't spent enough time up here. Just period. And recently. So I wanted to make sure I come up here, and I got this video up here. You know, I remember coming up here and I did like a 10-minute version of this kind of when I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, I just love this roof. You know, it's so low key. It's in a good spot. It kind of sucks now there's people in the building over there. I keep thinking they're looking at me. I'm hoping they just think I'm on the phone. I don't know why this stresses me out to talk on my phone in public, talk to myself in public. But yeah, so lots on the go. A lot is on the go. With the new company, the new job. Yeah, I might have to cut this part out. I don't know, but I'm just like I love surf. I love what surf is. I love the mission they're on. I love the people that are behind it. I have the utmost respect, love, and appreciation for Swish and Onic as well, and everything they're building. I just feel like I'm stagnating right now, and I felt that before with my business. And my goal is to just not feel stagnant, especially right now. And I got an opportunity, a very, very good opportunity. Shout out to Scott Birdie to join this company called Expense Monk. And Expense Monk, again, I'm on NDA, so I don't want to dive into it too much because I'm going to post this publicly. But I got given an opportunity by Scott to join this company called Expense Monk, where I'm going to get a bit of a pay bump. I'm going to be getting some equity. There's a decent bonus attached. It allows me to work in Web3, which is exciting. We're going to be launching an NFT project to fund the business. So Scott and I have been going, not back and forth, but Scott keeps sending updates on the artwork, and the artwork looks so awesome. And there's like genuine utility attached to this artwork. So I'm very, very excited with this project and what we're building with it. And so I think it's gonna be really cool to do that. And also too, like with that opportunity with Expense Monk, I just thought there was somebody up on the roof the entire time, and I was like, this person has just listened to me for the last half an hour just talk about my entire life. But you know, with Expense Monk, I'm excited. You know, I committed this to Scott, like I'm talking about this since February. Right now we're just waiting for him to get some funding in the door so I can join full time. And yeah, I'm excited for it. You know, I'll be head of marketing as my title, so it'll be a career jump, a pay bump, equity in a company, in an exciting space. I'll get to meet a lot of cool people, work with a lot of cool people, so I'm very excited for it. And, you know, I think Creator Now offered me a spot to join them full time, but I'd already committed to this thing with Scott. And that was tough for me because, like, I love working. With Creator Now, like, that was a tough decision for me to make. You know, do I join Creator Now full time? Do I, like, but I didn't want to. I have made this commitment to Scott, and I'm loyal to that fact. And then it wasn't like an easy decision, but it also wasn't like something it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was never going to leave Scott high and dry on this. Scott also, to his credit, I told him this, and he told me that he's like, to explore this opportunity with Creator Now as far as I could. So I talked to Creator Now, and basically I was talking to Kate, and Kate was saying that, like, basically let's just walk, crawl, walk, and then run. Because I was like, yo, like, let's just try it. I'll try and do both full time, basically, is what I said. And Kate was like, whoa, no. And I have so much appreciation for that fact, because I'm not trying to not work hard right now, but I think I need to just focus my work, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I've been all over the map. Like, I'm not focused. Like, I think I need to spend some time to figure out exactly what it is I want to do. And like, you might be like, I thought we were talking about screenwriting. I think screenwriting will be the thing, screenwriting and creativity, and like leaning more into that. And there are some opportunities and some connection pieces through Expense Monk where that does make sense, where there is some reason for working with Expense Monk as well, which will benefit me on that side. I'm not going to get to a ton of that right now, but I think that's going to, I feel like I don't know. I just think I need to stop taking on 1,000,001 projects. I think I need to start utilizing the word no a little bit more. And so I appreciate that Kate said that we can, she's like, it's kind of like not an open offer, and I'm not using, like, not taking advantage of that, but they basically, like, if and when that time comes, we'll figure something out. But I wanted to see through this option with Scott. I think it's a good financial opportunity. And I also want to keep the podcast separate from my day-to-day, because I've done 2 times now where the podcast is like a part of the full-time job, and both times it's felt like it's become the thing that gets, and even like, it might even just be like with the one, I know for sure, but with this second one, it doesn't even feel like, this might just be an internal thing, but it just feels very quick like it is the thing that gets pushed to the bottom of the priority list. I need to do actual work and not focus on the podcast, which is tough for me because I love the podcast. And so I wanted to leave these 2 things separate, the podcast and the work, especially in the beginning, just that we can build this podcast with Creator Now, where that's why we're having all our conversations. Like, I don't want there to be conversations where, hey, we scheduled a podcast meeting, we actually talk about this other thing. So right now, every time it's focused with the podcast. And so I don't even know where I was going with this. I just think that, like, I was very much overthinking the decision of not joining Creator Now full time. Like, I'm missing a huge opportunity, but I know there's another huge opportunity with Scott and Expense Monk, and I have so much love for Scott. You know, Scott has been so beneficial in my career. Scott's the reason I landed Surf as a client, or Trufan, I should say, as a client, which is now Surf, which is the reason I'm there full time. You know, Scott made some introductions to me and trying to help me land other clients. Like, Scott has been very pivotal in my career, and for him to trust me this much, to bring me into this new project that he's very excited about, obviously, to be the head of marketing, I'm honored. You know, I really appreciate that. Like I said, I have a lot of love for Scott Birdie. And it stresses me out, though. Like, that's a lot of responsibility. Not that I don't want the responsibility, but I keep being like, I just have these thoughts where it's like, I'm just waiting for everyone to figure out I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And I don't think anybody, like, within reason has a clue what they're doing. But I just, I don't know. I just feel like you know, there's the intrusive thoughts, obviously, where it's just like, I literally have just made it up this whole way. Like, I'm just waiting for everyone to figure out that I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to marketing. And I'm just going to make it up and hope it works. And I've just gotten extremely lucky, and I've gotten, like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's those thoughts. There's obviously pressure with joining Expense Monk as well. That's like, I just want to make sure I crush this for them. I really do. Because I believe in them. Like I said, I got a lot of love for Scott. I got a love. It's going to be, I just got an email. Anyways, it's an invoice thing. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited to, I'm a little bit nervous, but I think, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Jimmy Iovine lately, who founded Interscope Records, and he's saying, you know, you got to use fear as a tailwind. So I think the thing now is, like, if an opportunity that I want to do, something that I want to actively pursue, but it scares me, I need to run with that. I need to run at it. I need to use, not at it, I need to run with it. I need to use that fear. He says, use fear as a tailwind and not as a headwind. And so that's what I need to do. I need to leverage that fear, understand that that's a signal that I'm making the right step. And even though I'm not scared with this, but I said I am stressed and overthinking it, I think that's a good sign. And I think we're going to build something really, really cool here, and I'm going to be a part of it. And I'm excited to be a part of it. And right now, just in life, it feels like, you know, it feels like the end of the season that's setting up all the cool shit that's going to happen in the next season, all the new shit. That's what it feels like right now. You know, I'm just kind of in like a holding pattern with everything. Like, I'm starting to prep for the interviews with Creator Now, so it's starting to feel more real. It'll feel really real, I think, once the plane is booked, once the flight is booked, I should say, when I'm in LA for the first time. So yeah, I think that's going to be, but yeah, it's just, nothing feels like fully concrete yet. You know what I mean? Like, Toronto's starting to feel more real. Expense Monk, kind of not really feeling real yet. Like it is obviously because we're working on it, but like once I'm working there full time, like all the stuff, I'm just kind of like waiting for it all to kind of fall into place here. And I'm excited. Like it's a very exciting time, obviously. New job, new podcast, new city, new me, pretty much. So I'm excited. I think it's just like, yeah, it feels like it's setting up the end of the season right now, setting up the next season. I'm excited, and it's gonna be cool. And obviously I'm gonna keep you, bring you along for the journey. You might just be me. You might be whoever's watching this, my mom. Hi, Mom. But yeah, you know, and this is the roof here. You know, like I said, I love this roof. That's why I wanted to do this one up here. And the next time I'm gonna do one of these, obviously I'm gonna vlog throughout, but the next time I do one of these video diaries, or whatever you want to call it, it'll be in Toronto, which is crazy, where I'll be a resident, which is wild. You know, this is the first time Hallie and I will be like, you know, the generators came on, that's probably annoying. But it's gonna be the first time where Hallie and I, like, you know, it's an adventure for us. Like, you know, obviously I moved from Portage to Ottawa, but I had my family here, so it didn't feel like the kind of move that this Ottawa-Toronto move feels like. So we're gonna be on our own. We're both really excited. It's gonna be just living in the city. Gave me life. When I was there, it just gave me life. Also understanding that novelty will wear off, and so I can't just use that as like an excuse to I can't like let the moving to Toronto be the solve to all my problems. But I am excited to get there. Hallie's excited to get there. I'm just excited for everything. Like, I'm excited right now. You know, I think that's something. I'm very lucky, very fortunate with everything that's happening in life right now. And a lot of cool things coming up. And I want to make sure too that I also stop and smell the roses and enjoy where I'm at right now. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Obviously, there'll be vlogs between this and the next one. You'll know more, but yeah, excited for the next season, but I'm going to enjoy the end of this one.